For you. Ben, big game Sunday, buzz around it, but is the preparation for the team been any different, or are you guys treating it as just another game here?
Well, it is just another game. It's against a very good opponent, and we go about the game a very similar way that we do, every week. Identify strengths and weaknesses of the opponent, try to get after their weaknesses, and deal with some of their strengths. They've got a lot of strengths, but they also have some areas that we think we can exploit if we're really good on the day. But it's a tall task, but it's one the guys are into, and certainly our job as a staff right now is to give them as much information over the next day or two to make sure they're prepared. And then the whistle will blow, and we'll try to get after them. But we're under no illusions that they are, maybe the best team in the league. Certainly they were last year, and that it's a task that is, as I said, a tall one.
Start with questions in the room. Luis, go ahead.
Coach, is it better to start the season this way with tough tests like that, or is it better to do it later in the season where maybe you're in better form?
Well, this is the test in front of us, right? And then doesn't get any easier the next week against Columbus, maybe the other best team in the league. So I don't care when we play them. This is not a world we live in of this is when we would play them. We play them in 2 days, and our job just remains the same in identifying who they are, and where they can hurt us and where we can hurt them. And that's the game here. That's where we live. I understand there's a lot of hype on the game, and I think it's a good thing. I'm not downplaying that. This is a special game, I think, for our fans and for the community of Houston, for new fans to come out. And, we understand the responsibility of that and trying to put on a good show and trying to win and still put together the performance that brings people back that maybe aren't our most loyal fans. But from our end, it's about, continuing to find out about ourselves. We've talked about some of the changes, and each time you pop a new guy in and maybe you have some injuries, you're going to find out about who we are and where we need to go, what voids can be filled within here, and what do we think we need going forward from the outside and bringing players in. And so it's all happening.
You talk about the hype around this game, and obviously Messi being a big part of that. I'm just curious, who's your GOAT?
Who's my GOAT? Oh, I don't care. I root for one team, and that's the Houston Dynamo. I concern myself with my squad as much as possible. I will say this: he is a remarkable player. I mean, it's been unbelievable to see what he's done throughout his career, and what he's done to this league, and how he just continually puts up the numbers that he does. I don't know why everyone's, maybe some people were surprised that he'd come here even at this age and continue to do what he does. But I don't know why people were surprised. And not only putting up the numbers, but the way he does it in such an entertaining fashion. It's remarkable. It's remarkable. So, and to try to stop him is very difficult. There's been many better coaches than I that have tried to stop him, and most all of them were not successful. So it's very naive to say, okay, I have the plan to stop a player of this caliber. Of course, we're all doing similar things. How do you push him out of the middle? How do you limit space? How do you condense space? Limit his touches. Limit the time that he can provide other players. Find out his trends and where he scores goals, and make sure our defenders understand that stuff. But he can go left. He can go right. He can combine. He can finish. He smells opportunity in the box. There's no weaknesses here. So you try to limit it as much as possible, and put him in as few of those positions as possible.
Ron, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, and speaking about the number 10, his favorite partner to link up is on the left flank in Jordi Alba. How important is going to be keeping an eye on Jordi and keeping him from impacting the game, as we saw earlier this week in Conca Champions?
Yeah, you put so much emphasis on the number 10, and you're rightly pointing out that they've got some other killers out there, and he's one that has been doing that, and their relationship is a special one, and the way they connect and look for each other, and Alba's ability to provide different types of services, and that sixth sense that they have together is something you see on a weekly basis. So it's special. Same with Busquets. The whole idea of time, right? The time element to get him the ball is always a small window because of teams that are very connected and the awareness of where he's at in the field, and people want to condense space and deny him the ball. So that time element goes away very quickly, and that's why Busquets and some of these players that have played with him understand how critical it is to get him the ball in a quick way and have that sixth sense that I talked about of those partnerships and relationships where they know exactly where they are because of the time element.
And then in regards to your favorite team, the Houston Dynamo, fine-tuning throughout the week, mistakes on the back line in the past game, lessons learned from that game, and what did the team work on, focus on this
Well,
week?
the lessons are you don't kick it to their team in front of the goal, right? It's a pretty basic one. And the other one is give some depth if, there's an open ball against really fast opponents. These are two things that we addressed going into the game. We knew Dallas's attack was dynamic. We knew they had speed. If it's an open ball, you got to give depth. So we just individually, there wasn't anything, I don't think, systematic. I think if you look at that game, we played pretty well. We certainly could win that game if we didn't shoot ourselves in the foot. There's no huge come to Jesus, systematic changes that we're looking to do because of the way we gave up those goals. I think some of this was habits and making good decisions in the moment, and that's going to happen, especially with young defenders. And as we figure this out till we're well oiled, we're going to still make some mistakes like a lot of teams did in the first opening day. So it's important to limit that stuff to give ourselves a chance. It's important for us to score goals at home, more than one goal. Tie that game 2-2, win that game 3-2. If we do make mistakes, so it's very easy to point fingers at the goals given up, but there's two sides to this, and there's got to be times where we bail out our defense by having a rash of goals in the match. To get all 3 points at home.
Thank you, man.
Already go ahead.
Coach. Just to carry on from what Herman said, right, the back line, Eric Sviatchenko missed last game, Franco Escobar featured a bit. What is their status going into the second week of MLS?
I think they're available. Yeah, they're available. So that helps. That helps to have that availability in the back line. So we'll just keep looking at them and seeing which guys are the right ones to go against this. And nobody's fully. We'll see. It's probably a combination of all that, but we're still identifying that.
And then this is a matchup that you don't see very often. A Western and Eastern Conference team. The last time the Dynamo played Miami was in the Open Cup. Do you think they're coming for a revenge game here? I mean, this is one that counts for all 3 points as well.
I don't think they're probably too concerned about us in the revenge factor. But maybe some of them, maybe, I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. I think they've got a lot of competitions. I think they've had success, and I think they'll be just wanting to add points. A team like this, Miami, it's it's about Supporter Shield. It's about MLS Cups. That's where they live because of, the brand they built and the quality they have. So I think, I don't know, I can't speak for them, but I think the focus is just adding points and continuing to kind of, it's a new coach and figuring out, just like us, who they are and how they can kind of progress throughout this year. Mm-hmm.
Danny, do you have one? You good? Yes. Okay. Yeah, okay, we'll go to Zoom. Dustin, go ahead.
Hey, man.
Hey, Gus.
Hey, I just want to ask you, hit it on a little bit there, but Javier Mascherano, new coach, 2 weeks in a row that you guys faced a new coach. Is it different preparing for a team like that, or you mentioned the stars that they have, you kind of know what they are?
Well, if it's a new coach or not, you still have to do the work. You still, we have a few games from this year from him, which is nice in that way that, some teams you only have one opening game and some preseason footage. So I think we have ideas of who they are and how they're going to go about the game. But, they have different ways to do that, and yeah, they're good. They're a good team, and they continue. Everybody talks about A, B, and C for them, and Busquets, Miami, some of Messi, some of the big names. They also have a kind of a core group now of really, really talented young players, both some Americans and also from South America that are. They have a nice pipeline that they continue to re-up on, and every year, every few months, there seems to be another player from South America that's coming in there that has a real impact for them, and they're more than just those three, that's for sure.
Thanks, man. Give it over to Joey.
Yeah, Joey, go ahead.
Hey, Ben, there's been a lot of discourse lately about Ibrahim Ali's last performance. Would you be able to define a bit more of what the role is of the left winger, both in and out of possession in your system?
Yeah, Ibra, it wasn't his greatest performance last game. What he doesn't get credit for is his defensive positioning and effort, and that we can always rely on with Ibra. And the position's about getting behind and giving us depth and pushing back lines back and trying to get in behind. So he didn't do that enough, and in possession he wasn't at his best either. But Ibra's a guy that's been a part of the team for the last year and a half, and we've had a lot of success with him. So I'd make sure you remember that throughout all your discourse, that he's done a pretty good job for this club over a year and a half, and but certainly we're looking to push him and get better, get also competition for him as Anali and Quinones come back in, and so we also have to reward him at times for some of the stuff he does, and that's part of midfielders and providing him to put himself in successful spots. So. We got some work to do, as a group. This is not an individual thing. We just got to keep pushing and making everybody better.
Thank you so much, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Matt Young from the Houston Chronicle, go ahead.
Coach, real quick, obviously you have a couple guys from Argentina on the team who are fans of Messi. One guy has a tattoo of Messi on his leg. Is there any other excitement among the players, obviously the fans, but among the players as well, especially those two guys?
The question was, is there an excitement about playing Messi, in particular from players maybe from Argentina? I guess that was the question. Ish?
Escobar has the Messi tattoo. So.
Yeah. It's an interesting dynamic, but I don't know. I'm sure it's a little special, but it's more special for the Argentines to play against what is, a national idol, and but I hope that enhances their performance, and I hope that inspires them to be at their best. Is how I'd answer that.
Anything else on Zoom in the room? Yep, Jorge, go ahead.
Coach, the MLS recently posted the roster spots, if I'm not mistaken, and Artur is listed as a DP. Just, I wanted to ask you what are the plans for that and any upcoming DP?
Yeah, we'll be getting a DP, and it's not our tour, and that's cap stuff that I wouldn't look too much into. You could argue Artur's, I mean Artur's as valuable a player we have, so I'm not underselling his value, but we've said before, and I think it's been out publicly that's a cap maneuver in the moment. And that fluctuates throughout the year of where you designate TAM, under 22, DPs. All this stuff is flexible, and that changes throughout the year. But we're actively looking for a designated player, and that will be an attacking piece. And we'll I don't know when that comes. Hopefully soon. Hopefully yesterday. But these things take time, and you want to get them right, and you don't want to. Get somebody here for 3 years that is not the right fit, and so we're doing that now. We've been doing that for 5 months. It's a little bit slower than we'd all like, but this is what it is.
And we have one more on Zoom. Herman Fernandez Mors. Maybe. No.
Hello, Ben.
Yep.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Do you think your team can take advantage of in the physicality of this game, the physical aspect, considering Miami had a midweek game, an important one, and they have to travel, and you have more time to rest your players and to prepare for the game? Do you think that could be a factor, especially with their stars being, kind of old and needing more time to rest?
I hope so. That would be great if they were tired, but I haven't seen that from them very much. I think they've done a good job of rotating players, and they have a deep squad. So that's the challenge they have, being in all these tournaments and CONCACAF. That'd be fine with me if they were a little leggy and rusty. Physically, we should be, as you said, we should be in maybe have a little extra battery overall. But then it's battery versus rhythm, right? And when you have a lot of games, and we've had one game so far, one proper game. They've had 3 real games, so sometimes that rhythm helps from a team. So we'll see how that plays out on Sunday.
Thank you. And I have one more. You talked about Mascherano briefly. I know it's early in the season, but do you identify differences between how Miami played under Tata Martino and now under Mascherano, or is basically the same?
I think it's based in the same philosophy overall. I'm sure there's a lot of the profile players that have come in are different than some of the ones that were there for Tata, so it's pretty close, and similar key figures and putting them in the spots to succeed, whether it's Suarez and Messi and Alba. Redondo seems to be in really good form, and he's a guy that is really, I think, is fitting in nicely in the center of the park. I think they're more dynamic with defenders. I think they have a little bit more team speed. So I don't know. Overall, I don't see a lot of differences, but I'm sure if you ask them, there's definitely some differences and nuances.